mixed reviews on the color. Some people said they like it, some people said they don't like it, and I said, well, what color is your Bugatti? And my answer is simple. Why wouldn't I have a machete next to my bed? Why don't you have a machete next to your bed?
I come home, my 4 wives are sitting there.
What's
going on, everybody? This is Cam with My Dude Reviews, bringing you perhaps the most sought-after fitness routine review of 2022. Andrew Tate's own fitness routine. From 4-time world champion kickboxer, rich luxury lifestyle promoter, and controversial motivational speaker, life coach, and podcast host, Andrew Tate sure knew how to make a name for himself. And somehow, seemingly overnight, he and his followers took over social media completely, and you couldn't even open Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube without seeing clips or reels of him everywhere, talking about something that would both piss off and spark empowerment for hundreds of millions of people around the world. But we're not here to talk about any of that. Love him or hate him, we're here to analyze the fitness routine of this canceled retired world champion to see how a regular dude will fare in this maintenance program to stay fit year-round with minimal time and gym equipment. Now, before we get into any of that, could you drop a like to help the YouTube algorithm, as well as hitting that subscribe button if you're new here. It helps the channel grow like you wouldn't believe, and it helps promote my content to other viewers like you. For perspective, it took me 12 months to reach my first 100 YouTube subscribers. But with all your help, I managed to double that number within 2 months and continue to grow with all of your continued support in my pursuit of my next goal of 500 subscribers. I completed 2 additional fitness challenges on top of Andrew Tate's, and I have my first fitness product review in the works right now. So make sure you're subscribed so you get notifications to when those videos will drop. But without any further delay, let's just dive right into Andrew Tate's All You Need fitness routine. A quick notice before we begin. This will likely be a shorter video due to the fact that it's a very simple program, and you normally only have access to this if you're signed up for Hustlers University. But because someone leaked the program on YouTube, I figured I'd give it a shot for a while, but in a way that doesn't spoil the actual contents of the fitness program itself, which would protect me from a legal standpoint. But basically, here's the gist of it. Tate claims he doesn't spend hours at the gym each day, but rather does close to 20-minute workouts each day at his house or wherever he's traveling to with only about $50 worth of gym equipment. And if you saw his routine and compared it to his physique, and him casually benching over 300 pounds for reps, you might think his whole routine is a load of crap and discount it entirely, and you'd be right to do so. This will certainly not give you that level of strength, even if you did this routine for years while taking gear. But there's something he makes very clear in his video. This is more of a get in shape quick or a maintenance fitness routine. He goes as far to say that this is not something he was doing when he was a fighter, but rather something to sustain his current level and his current physique with as little daily investment as possible. Because, you know, time is money and stuff. So the vision is one of 2 things: get in shape or stay roughly where you're at right now. He recommends doing this every day for 3 months, but because I've been actively involved with fitness for just over 14 years of my life now, I didn't want to invest a quarter of a year doing something not knowing full well it's going to yield positive results. So I gave it 2 months. And honestly, the results are kind of what I expected. I leaned out a bit more from my previous video, Ryan Humiston's push-pull legs, but was still doing the low-weight, high-volume principles he was teaching at the beginning of his challenge. Andrew Tate's routine is more of a high-intensity interval training style, or HIIT, of the same few workouts every day, meaning high heart rate and heavy breathing was a given. So cardio with weights. And surprisingly, my physique didn't really change. I leaned out a tiny bit more, but not by a large margin, but I also don't think I made any gains here, which is very surprising because if there is one thing you'd expect to grow from this plan, it's your shoulders. This routine is extremely taxing on your shoulders, specifically the anterior or front head. The only times I couldn't finish an exercise all the way through without rest were due to the high amounts of shoulder movements. There were parts when shoulders, legs, and multiple other muscle groups were involved in a single exercise, but the repetition failure was always due to the load placed on my shoulders. Speaking of legs, this is where a muscle group is covered, but completely ineffectively in my opinion. When the weight you're using for a leg exercise is the same weight used for your shoulders, but with equal or less rep ranges, you won't be doing much for yourself. I don't know if Tate built this plan with the intent of putting as much focus on developing or maintaining the shoulders and upper chest, but they are heavily involved in every single workout. For someone who's a kickboxing world champ, I would have expected a lot more lower body movements. Some might say he did this because broad shoulders play a huge role in how a man's physical stature and presence is perceived, which plays into what he and thousands of other lifters and even psychologists all say. The problem with this, though, is the other two heads hardly see any activation at all. The lateral head in particular is located at the widest part of your body, so if you wanted your shoulders to look as wide as possible, you can't neglect them. Upper back, lower back, biceps, calves, and forearms got briefly touched upon, so I didn't see any visible results there. But that doesn't mean someone new to fitness wouldn't get positive results from them. Abs got some attention, but we all know that abs are made in the kitchen first, gym second. Given that by the time you got around to doing your abs, your heart rate was already high, so you'd probably be burning slightly more calories, which is ultimately going to help you get visible abs. It's a very, very simple routine that can be done within 20 minutes each day that you can gradually increase the weight on. I tried doing Andrew's weight just to see where I was at, and like I mentioned before, got my shoulders destroyed before anything else. Granted, yes, my shoulders are small. The first muscle group I lose my strength in if I take some time off or if my protein intake is off. But everything else in his plan was incredibly manageable for me. However, aside from the enormous shoulder volume that could really mess somebody up that's brand new to fitness, something like this could very well be what some people need to get started on their fitness journey. It's simple, time effective, uses one piece of equipment, activates a lot of muscle groups, although it doesn't train them well or equally, and can give you a result that's likely better than what you had starting out. Although I can't stress enough how a new lifter hitting shoulders every day to that extent may end up harming them. The fitness routine does exactly what it was meant to, for me at least, maintain the physique. From a non-professional standpoint, I think there's a lot that could have been done differently and better, but it's not a terrible program. It's not something I'll try again in the future either, unless of course Andrew Tate comes out with a new and improved routine, of course. So in the meantime, I'll leave you with my final verdict. Andrew Tate's fitness routine gets an MDR approval rating of 5 out of 10.